Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adigunloye. The headlines. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu salutes men as churches dedicate the day to honouring fathers. Governor Alia condemns Yelewata attacks, describes them as unnecessary bloodbath. And Washington receives calls to reduce tariffs proposed by US on global trade. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has called for continued support and an enabling environment for men to function effectively as fathers, noting that when fathers are involved, families grow stronger, as does the nation. This is in her message marking this year's Father's Day celebrations, where she salutes all Nigerian fathers who dedicate themselves to raising confident, responsible and compassionate children. She equally celebrates the men who step into fatherhood roles through mentorship, guardianship and community leadership. While wishing them a happy Father's Day, the First Lady prays that God blesses and strengthens them in their responsibilities and rewards their labor with peace, joy and fulfillment. Meanwhile, churches today celebrated Father's Day in their various denominations, a day dedicated to honouring fathers for their influence and contributions to family development. Omenka Amarachuku covered some of these churches in Abuja and reports that the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NATI, Dr. Orji Ogbonnaya Orji, was among the notable Nigerians recognized for their selfless role both in service and humanity.
Father's Day is celebrated on the third Sunday in the month of June in Nigeria and many other countries of the world. The day was created to recognize the important roles fathers play in shaping the lives of their children and families. Premix Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Henry Ndokuba urged fathers to be guardians of their homes.
But we have seen from the scriptures that when men are rooted and founded and built up in God, in the Word of God, and holding to the promises of God, they will be able to weather the challenges of our time.
He must be a friend to the wife and the family, administrator of the home. He must be the teacher who teaches with his life.
The truth of the matter is that we should depend on God, and when we depend on Him, He is our sufficiency.
Today we gather together in celebrating men all over the world who have just been great tools in nation building.
Several fathers considered to have contributed immensely to the growth of their families and communities were also honored.
As a father, I am very delighted and honored to be alive and well to celebrate this year's Father's Day. I know what it means to be a father.
In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
Now, tackling the challenges of ageism demands a comprehensive approach, one that identifies elder abuse, safeguards older adults, and holds perpetrators accountable. And as nations raise awareness on this menace, Elizabeth Omori looks at the root causes of elder abuse, prevention and intervention strategies to combat this growing societal issue.
Aging, a natural process that affects all humans, is characterized by a decline in physical and biological functions over time. It is a complex process that involves physiological, psychological, and social changes. When these changes occur, humans become feeble and oftentimes lack the ability to attend to personal needs. Psychologists say lack of understanding of the needs of older persons, neglect, negative stereotype of older adults, and refusal to accept dependence that accompany old age promote elder abuse. Rufina is 64 and a widow. She says elder abuse within the family is a growing concern.
Mostly, if you don't have a baby boy in your husband's house, you are nowhere to be found. Make sure you leave the famine. They will collect everything belonging to your husband and leave you empty-handed.
I didn't say again now, they no go look me down. They must help me. But they say to make a struggle now, make a see waiting and go job.
We appeal to the federal government now to do more about our economy.
As a global concern, the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and the World Health Organization at the United Nations in 2006 adopted June 15 to promote public health and human rights for the aging population. Report by the World Health Organization shows that approximately 1 in 6 people aged 60 and older experience some form of elder abuse. This year's advocacy theme, addressing abuse of older adults in long-term care facilities through data and action, is what the National Senior Citizens Center is leveraging to facilitate actions by stakeholders and experts in geriatric care at national and subnational levels to stem all forms of elder abuse in Nigeria.
Let action speak louder than words. Together we can build a future where older persons live with dignity, free from fear and harm. We are not talking about the ones that we have at home alone. We have elderlies that are internally displaced. We have to reach out to them.
The NSCC Elder Justice Charter is a framework developed to address elder abuse alongside strategic partnerships with relevant law enforcement agencies to help victims get justice. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Nigeria or National Senior Citizens Center, Omobolanle Akinyemi Obi, has called for action by stakeholders and experts in aging and matters of older persons at the national and subnational levels to stem all forms of elder abuse in Nigeria. This is contained in a message to mark this year's World Elder Abuse Day in the Centre. The World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, observed annually on June the 15th, highlights wrongdoings to older persons and calls for action to uphold their dignity and rights. Instituted by the United Nations General Assembly, the theme for 2025 is addressing abuse of older adults in long-term care facilities through data and action. 15th of June 2025 being a Sunday, the international commemoration by the United Nations will hold virtually on Monday. Now, Washington has been bombarded with calls and appeals regarding dropping or at least reducing tariffs proposed by the US on global trade. More nations indicated desire to interface with President Trump in this regard on the sidelines of the G7 summit. Kulu Mohammed reports.
The trick employed by Shigeru Ishiba, Japanese Prime Minister, would be for the U.S. President to drop the 25% tariff he imposed on Japanese cars, as well as a plus 24% across-board levy that Trump calls a reciprocal tariff, without making concessions that could hurt the Prime Minister's public support at home. South Korea's Lee plans to hold bilateral talks at G7 summit, hoping to win tariff soft consideration from Donald Trump. Lee has also prepared for talks with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in case he attends the summit. Leaders of key countries are intended to be met by South Korea's delegation in Canada for multilateral talks for their mutual benefits. Anthony Albanese of Australia plans to have a closed-door meeting with President Trump in Canada. This is important for Australia, as one of America's largest companies had announced a huge investment in Australia. These analysts say over the next decade, Australia's GDP will be reviewed upward to over $600 billion. Prime Minister Albanese is working to not have Australia miss out on these.
Obviously, we'll raise tariffs, we'll raise the importance as well of AUKUS, and we will have a discussion as two friends should.
White House says President Trump's talk time at the G summit will turn between laws, tariffs, and economies on the brink of recession. While the UK has managed to cut tariffs in half, Australia expects more. In other news, US and China trade truce leaves military use rare earth issue unresolved. Beijing has not committed to grant export clearance for some specialized rare earth magnets that US military suppliers need for fighter jets and missile systems. The United States maintains export curb on China's purchases of advanced artificial intelligence chips out of concerns that they also have military applications. At talks in London last week, Chinese negotiators appeared to link progress in lifting export controls on military-use rare earth magnets with the long-standing U.S. curbs on exports of most advanced artificial intelligence chips to China. This marked a new twist in trade talks that began with opioid trafficking from China to America. Kolom Hamad, NTA News.
As a sign of Greenland's growing importance, French President Emmanuel Macron has visited the Arctic island. Gula Mohammed again reports that experts say the visit is a show of European unity.
Stepping foot into the capital, Nuuk, Macron was met with chilly and blustery weather, but despite the cold conditions, Macron was warmly greeted. Nuuk is a small city of less than 20,000 people, and the arrival of a world leader and his entourage is a great event. Much greater is the message carried by the visit. The curiosity just hearing about a visit by a president and leader amongst the European bloc, the interest is sky high, according to a consultant via podcast. President Macron tied his stance to being an important representative of Europe, promoting the unity of Europe through thick and thin across the land of the European community. Few months gone created the question of what allies are needed by Europe and what allies need to be strengthened for the continued economic and social hygiene of Europe. This, Macron says, is directly connected to the unilateral tariff regime orchestrated by President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. Several months ago and counting, Greenland, which is a semi-autonomous Danish territory with 56,000 people, has come under intense pressure as U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly said he wants to acquire the vast mineral-rich island. President Trump cited American security as the primary reason and not ruling out the use of force in achieving it. Analysts conclude that President Macron did not visit Greenland for the island's sake alone, but a bigger game play out among the big powers of the world. This is the reason why analysts have described the icy landscapes of Greenland as the hottest battleground in global politics. This visit by President Macron is on the invitation of leaders of Greenland Island, even though there were plans by the European community to tighten ties with big and small nations and islands in and around Europe. Talks here centered on North Atlantic and Arctic security, as well as climate change, economic development, and critical minerals. Danish Prime Minister is also in attendance and called Macron's visit another concrete testimony of European unity amid a difficult foreign policy situation in recent times. Kolom Hamad, NTA News.
In other news, Iranian former Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, the son of Iran's former Shah, who was overthrown in the country's 1979 Islamic Revolution, has been giving his assessments of the Iranian situation. He claims ordinary people in Iran who oppose the country's government have been re-energized by Israel's attacks, which have killed senior Iranian military leaders. The ultimate solution, he noted, is a regime change, and now the people have the opportunity. He called on world powers to not sit idly by and demonstrate vividly that beyond just imposing sanctions, They are prepared to take the next step of giving the Iranian people a sense of support for their fight for democracy and freedom. Pahlavi lives in exile and has been actively trying to influence foreign players to support his cause. He also visited Israel in recent years. This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. The ECOWAS Court of Justice has rounded off its inaugural moot court competition held in Nigeria. Judiciary correspondent Austin Nanyebe reports that the Ahmadu Bello University emerged winner out of the 8 universities that participated in the moot court session.
The case adjudicated upon by the finalists is an anonymous one of alleged violation of the fundamental human rights of citizens in the Republic of Waterwoods, where the government of the country was alleged to have infringed on the rights of citizens by changing the constitution of the country 3 months to election through a referendum. The situation had triggered violent protests which led to the death of some citizens. The applicant in the case, led by a student lawyer from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, held that the rights of citizens were violated by the government and urged the court to render the outcome of the election null and void and consequently award remedy to the victims. The applicant contends that ECOWAS has the jurisdiction to hear the matter, but the respondents, led by Student Council for the University of Jos, urged the court to dismiss the case for lack of jurisdiction, saying the arguments on violations of the right to freedom of expression, assembly and fair hearing of the victims cannot hold, being that the African Charter on People's Rights holds that there is no absolute right as national security and rights of others must be considered. At the end of the judicial exercise geared towards keeping the student in ECOWAS member states abreast with the role of the regional body in good governance and social integration, Ahmadu Bello University emerged winner, while University of Jos is the runner-up.
It actually feels excited as the winning team of the inaugural ECOWAS moot court competition. The exposure to the international humanitarian law aspect as created by the organizers of this competition has enlightened me. I think I'm leaving a better student and a more fond love and passion for international humanitarian law.
President ECOWAS Court of Justice, his vice, and others commend the legal arguments and composure of the students during the exercise, saying the moot court has become an annual event and now inclusive with students from other member countries to participate going forward.
The time has come for the ECOWAS Court of Justice to deepen its engagement with academic institutions.
What we gathered from our moot court judges was that the decision was not easy for them.
We think that there is hope that the future generation of lawyers will legitimately replace the current generation.
Participants from the 8 universities have been assured of opportunity to do their internship with ECOWAS. From Suleja, Niger State, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder has successfully conducted an operation against crude oil theft and illegal bunkering activities within the Ogba Egbema Ndoni general area. The NNS Pathfinder's Tactical Riverine Assault Squadron team, acting on credible intelligence, deployed personnel and assets to conduct anti-crude oil theft and illegal bunkering operations. During the operations, the team discovered a newly activated illegal refining site. Accordingly, the team identified and dismantled 5 other illegal refining sites with 67 ovens, 21 reservoirs and 55 dugout pits. Meanwhile, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has led a high-level delegation to the United States for a program management review meeting on the acquisition of 12 AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters as part of sustained efforts to bolster the operational capabilities of the Nigerian Air Force. The strategic meeting held in San Diego, California, brought together top officials from the United States government and representatives of Messrs. Bell Textron, manufacturers of the AH-1Z helicopters. A statement from the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, indicates that Air Marshal Abubakar expressed deep appreciation to the U.S. government for its enduring strategic partnership with Nigeria, noting that the acquisition of the AH-1Z Viper helicopters will significantly enhance the Nigerian Air Force combat effectiveness, operational efficiency and mission readiness, while reaffirming the force's determination to expedite the procurement process. Elsewhere, the Commandant of the National Defence College, Rear Admiral Olumuyiwa Olotu, has emphasized the role of soft power in addressing conflicts around the world. Defence correspondent Ismail Musa reports that he made the remark at the International Day celebration held for participants of Course 33 at the National Defence College, Abuja.
It's a vibrant celebration of global cultures, the National Defence College Cultural Diversity Fiesta, organized as part of the academic program for participants of Course 33. This year's class includes officers from 23 countries like Republic of Benin, Botswana, Brazil, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Germany, and Ghana.
National Defence College Nigeria, is one of our subtle instruments, of what we call defence diplomacy in the country. This is a practical example of how you can use, avenues like this, hosted by international institutions like this, to actually foster peace around the world.
The event aims to highlight cultural integration as a vital tool in fostering global challenges, especially terrorism.
We are bringing professionals from the military, from the security sector, to come and have a training in Nigeria. They become familiar with our environment, and that will dispel the kind of negative narrative we have about Nigeria. So this is an excellent program that will bring together people of different culture, different background. They come and relate with us and know much about us.
The mere fact that participants come from almost 15, 16 countries here is a testament of the academic level of this prestigious institution.
The National Defence College believes that culture, when harnessed as an instrument of soft power, can help in resolving complex issues by fostering mutual understanding and collaboration among nations. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now, just 2 weeks after a similar interception at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano, NDLEA operatives in Port Harcourt International Airport have arrested a businessman for ingesting 53 wraps of cocaine while en route to Tehran. This is one of the several interceptions of illicit substances recorded in different parts of the country during the week. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim brings us details.
A 44-year-old businessman was arrested on Saturday, June 7th, while trying to board a flight to Tehran, Iran. A body scan revealed that he had ingested illicit drugs and he was placed on excretion observation. He subsequently expelled 53 wraps of cocaine in 6 excretions. The suspect claimed to have been involved in the criminal trade for 2 years, moving between West Africa and Iran. And in Lagos, operatives in collaboration with FAN officials intercepted an Italy-bound passenger at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. Drug consignment were discovered hidden in the suspect luggage during baggage scanning at the tarmac. 14,410 pills of tramadol were concealed in the suspect winter jackets. Similarly, NDLEA operatives raided a warehouse in Oberiakai, Cross River State, and recovered 2,687 kilograms of skunk, a strain of cannabis. 3 suspects were arrested in connection to that. In Bauchi State, NDLEA officers arrested 2 men along Bauchi-Jos Road after 195 blocks of skunk were discovered in their car. Officers of the Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, Maiduguri, arrested 2 businessmen with various quantities of ecstasy pills and skunk packaged in fanciful wraps. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has paid a glowing tribute to the former Nigerian head of state and elder statesman General Abdulsalami Abubakar on his 83rd birthday. A statement the president personally signed to celebrate the general on his birthday says, quote, "I salute him for his decades of exceptional service to Nigeria, both in uniform and in retirement, and commend his steadfast commitment to peace, stability and good governance across the African continent." End of quote. It further adds that General Abubakar's legacy, particularly his role in leading Nigeria through a peaceful transition to democratic rule in 1999, remains a watershed moment in the nation's history. His selfless act, handing over power, paved the way for Nigeria's Fourth Republic and strengthened the principle of constitutional democracy. It continues, he is a patriot of uncommon integrity whose service inspires generations of Nigerians in public life. Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State has condemned in strong terms the attacks and killings of innocent citizens at Yelewata community by suspected criminal herders, saying nothing should warrant taking a life. A statement signed by the chief press secretary to the governor, Tersu Kula, notes that the governor is making concerted efforts to ensure the state experiences peace. Well, that's the size of our package on NTA International News at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunlu.